Hi, my name is Joe Young, and this is a uh, role play session. This is not a real counseling session. It is being done as part of a school project at Lathermal University. And I'm sitting with Patsy and Ray Watson. And so we're going to begin the session now. Um, Patsy and Ray, I've taken the opportunity to review your initial paperwork. Um, but before we begin, I just want you guys to know that anything that we discuss is being discussed in confidentiality. Do you guys understand that? Do you have any questions in relationship to the confidentiality documents that we signed?
No.
No. Okay, great. Patsy, I see that you are a retired nurse.
Yes.
And Raymond, you are a retired Navy veteran.
Yes.
Okay. And you guys have been married for 40 years, 42 years?
39 and a half.
39 and a half. Congratulations. Outstanding. All right. And you have 3 kids?
Yes.
Adult kids.
Yes.
All right. No health issues that you guys have pointed out? And you currently are both active in church. That's
Yes.
good. See here that you are Deacon Raymond?
Yes.
Okay. And Patsy, you work with children,
Yes.
all kids.
Mhm.
Great. Family history. Big family, Patsy.
Yes.
12 siblings. 12 total. And your mom is still alive?
Yes, she is.
And Raymond, you have 3 siblings?
8.
8. Oh, wow. I missed that. Looks like a 3, but okay. So both of you guys come from large families.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right. I'll make sure that we touch on that as we go through the process. Okay. You guys currently live here in the Dallas, Texas area. You've been here for about 3 years now.
Yes.
Okay. All righty. So tell me, how can I help you guys today? What is it that you'd like to discuss?
So what will be the problem, babes?
Communication.
Communication.
Communicating. Not that we don't do it, but communicating.
Can you be more definitive by communication?
Communication. How can I be more definitive about communicating?
Well, let me ask it in this way. What is how would you like communication to be between the two of you?
We talk a lot and we tell practically everything, but when my husband comes home from work, I realize that he's tired. But just to ask how my day was, or to just kind of involve me in things that have taken place during his day.
Okay. All right, Raymond, let me ask you your thoughts on that. What is it about communication between you and Patsy that do you believe communication needs to improve? And if so,
Well, to me, communication is fine in one respect. I think that she wants to know how my day went. Well, it's nothing exciting. When it's something exciting happen, I inform her.
okay.
But if it's like the day-to-day, Monday things that happen, I just say my day was okay. Nothing special.
Okay. Let me ask, Patsy, when Raymond comes home from work and you feel, if I can interpret what you're saying, what you mentioned that he's not sharing things with you, what does that do to the communication from that point on, or how does that make you feel?
Sometimes it can lead to little spats of words, because when I say, how was your day, things like either the TV will come on or the phone will come out, and it's like, okay, I'm asking you how your day is and you're on your phone, so you're not hearing me because you're not answering me.
Okay. And Raymond, do you see that as truth, what she's saying, or is it just?
Well, it's somewhat, usually I come home, I want, downtime. I want downtime to relax and then get that out of my system and then, going about my life.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Well, so before we kind of begin this process, if you choose to continue to work with me, how I typically like to work with couples is obviously in groups as a couple, to understand the problem, understand what you guys are trying to work towards. Sometimes that may mean having one-off sessions with one spouse and then a one-off session with the other spouse. Because typically what I found over the years of experiencing is that sometimes individuals, regardless of how long they've been married and how effective they communicate, when they're one-off, they tend to speak more freely. So if we continue the process, I certainly would like to do that. Okay. So Patsy, I'd like to kind of start with you more just for now,
Okay.
because when you say you like Raymond to include you in his day, do you do that yourself?
I do. I am very vocal. I talk a lot, and maybe sometimes that could be the problem. Ray is a quiet person.
Mm-hmm.
He's a quiet person, and I know that he needs to come home, and I know that he needs to wind down.
Okay.
But we've had these conversations sometime that if that's how you feel, why can we just not verbalize that? We can talk in a few minutes. I just need to wind down. Can we take a few minutes break? And I can understand that instead of me nagging, if I
Sure.
can say the word, if I, nagging or complaining that, okay, you've worked all day and you've talked to people, because he has to talk to people what he
Right.
does.
Yes.
And then it's like, okay, I want that same talkness too. I want to be talked to. I want to feel like, okay, I don't know. It's just kind of, I mean, in hindsight, when I think about it and I look about it, I talk about it, I know it's kind of like selfishness in me,
Mm-hmm.
but yet still at the moment when it's happening, I don't see the selfish. I just want to be talked to because I have a whole lot to say.
Sure. So let me ask, how is your day? So when Raymond is at work, what
Mhm.
occupies your day?
I'm either doing homework or I'm either talking with someone on the telephone in a way of encouragement, or I'm running errands, doing stuff at church, or
Okay.
I'm busy. It's not that I just sit home. I'm busy.
Okay.
So I guess that's part of what I want to hear him say was, "How was your day?" And then when he does say, "How was your day?" one-on-one eye contact instead of the TV or the phone going. That's where I think we get in trouble at.
Okay. All right. Okay.
'Cause
Now, you mentioned that you are busy sometimes during the day encouraging others.
Mhm.
Um, so obviously you are very big into sharing your faith or
Mhm.
spirituality, right?
Mhm.
Tell me, from a spiritual standpoint, how would you perceive um, God would want you to address this issue with Raymond?
First of all, he probably wants me to talk to him before I even talk to Ray about it, so that I would know exactly how to approach him without putting him in a defensive mode.
Okay.
And just, I mean, just kind of, I know I'm supposed to be his helper, and I know I'm supposed to be his encourager. But sometimes it's just not be selfish, I guess. Not be selfish, and just
Well, I think it's not accurate to assess selfishness onto you and for what you desire to have. It's simply a need or desire that you want, right? And it's not in any way harmful
Mm-hmm.
wanting that,
Right.
right? So to say it's selfish, I wouldn't label it as that.
Okay.
Okay. But I like the fact that you certainly place emphasis on talking to God first to
Mhm.
allow Him to lead you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as believers, that is what we should be doing in every aspect of our life.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Ray, let me ask you, when she engages with you and you first walk in, you know, how are you feeling? What are your thoughts? What do you, I mean, are you defensive? Are you shutting down or deflecting? I mean, tell me what exactly you do.
Well, sometimes I'm just tired. I want to sit down and relax, and it might be deflective sometimes, where I just like, you know what, I need what, you know, I'll come talk to you in a few minutes. Just need a rest time, you know. And like I say, we've talked, and she's already, then I already say, I know you need your rest time. So
Mhm.
you know, you don't need my rest time, then why we have this discussion
Right.
again? We already said that you need your rest time because you just get off work to wind down.
Yeah.
So why we have this discussion again
Mhm.
and again and again
Mhm.
and again? So
I hear you. So let me ask you, Raymond, when you were in your car, could you potentially consider that as your downtime when you're driving home?
I guess I could consider as my downtime. You know,
And again, I'm not throwing out answers
Right,
or
right,
I'm not
right.
throwing
Understand.
out, I just, the, what you guys define as the issue, communication, right? It seems to me that you guys communicate very well just from this little exchange here. I think it's more or less wants versus needs, and trying to understand how to accommodate one another during that critical period, right?
right?
And so it really starts with communication, right? What you said was the problem. And it starts with effectively communicating desires, but more importantly, respecting what the other person says or may feel. Mhm. So, for instance, Patsy, you mentioned that, you know, it sometimes leads to spats.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my question would be, why?
Why does it lead to spats?
Mhm.
Well, because I need for him to. I need to feel like I'm heard,
Okay.
and when I
So,
say things,
what I'd like you to do is, as you're communicating, think about the words that you're using,
mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm,
Okay, because you just said I,
mm-hmm,
meaning you're placing yourself before his needs,
mm-hmm,
and then you said need.
mm-hmm.
So just so to kind of step back and say, well, what is it that he needs at this time when he first walks into the door?
So I should ask him what does he need
No,
before
I'm
he
just
walks
saying,
into the
you know,
door.
perhaps putting the other person first, you may say, well, I know what I need, but what is it that he needs?
Okay, I hear you. I get that. I get that.
And it could go for Raymond as well, because
Mhm.
Raymond, you could say, well, I know I need some downtime, but what does she need? She's been at home all day by herself or whatever.
I hear that, and we have conversations about that. We've had conversations about putting the other's needs before our own, but it seems like in that moment, it doesn't happen.
Mhm.
It just doesn't. I mean, we know that this is what we need to do,
Yeah.
but it just doesn't happen that way.
It's interesting that when we know what we need to do, we
Mhm.
lose sight of it because we allow either emotions or desires to overtake what we know to do.
Mhm.
Right? And it could just, you know, again, I'm not saying that that's characteristic of what's happening here. I'm just simply throwing that out there.
Mhm.
having been married almost 40 years, how have you guys worked through challenges before? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, sometimes we go like a neutral corner. I call it a neutral corner,
Mm-hmm.
where we give each other some downtime that way, where we separate. Uh, One might go into one room, one might come into another room,
Mm-hmm.
and then we just, it's like a free time,
Mm-hmm.
to mellow down, to just let everything go over your head, go away, and then
Sure.
regroup, and then we just come back up and back together again. And that's what we've been doing for 39 years.
Mhm.
We go through our spats, 39 and a half. We go through our spats, and then we go to our corners, you
Time
know,
out.
the basic time out.
Mhm.
And then we regroup, and then we come, I'm sorry,
Mm-hmm.
and then we start back over again.
Okay.
Now, it solves the problem for a while, then, but like I said, that's part of life. We back and forth,
Right.
But, that's how it operates, how we work.
I like that. I like that a lot. Couples always have different ways of working through.
Mhm.
Marriage is obviously not easy,
Mhm.
right? But in this particular case, you guys have I would say, a process that works.
Mhm.
So let me ask you, Patsy, working through this, how do you see? I kind of think I know what you would see, but
Mhm.
in the best of best,
Mhm.
what would that look like for you when Raymond comes home from work?
And the best of best. Okay, this is the best of best, but this is not. The best of best would be, hi, hon. How are you doing? How was your day? And just tell me a little bit about how his day was, and I think that would be okay, because we just greeted each other and we asked each other how our days was, and then it would be okay.
Okay. Raymond, same question for you.
Probably the same way, hi, honey. Hope you had a good day. I'm gonna give you, half an hour to your downtime, regenerate, then come on back in. Let's start holding each other and loving each other, that sort of stuff.
Okay, the best of best. Huh?
That's the best. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean that's.
I'm not trying to take away your time. I just downtime and then come. And then when I do come in there, after I have my downtime, I tell you everything that happened. It's not that I don't uh, inform you of what my job is like. It's like a delay pattern,
Sure.
And then once I mellowed out, cooled down, then I come in and say, oh, my day was like this, blah, blah, blah. Had to grab somebody, had to, somebody was trying to take something from the store and I had to block them and stuff like that, and that's what I do tell you my
Me too.
day. It's just not at that moment on her time.
Right.
It's like she wants someone to come in the house. How's your day? And you know everything. So, well, let me have some downtime. And then once that happens, then I tell you.
Sure.
You know,
Do you guys talk while you're at work, or are there times when you talk at work?
I call her twice at work when I have my 15-minute break and lunchtime.
Mhm.
Okay.
So it's not like I've been all day and don't talk to her.
Right.
And then when she's away, we inform each other. Hey, I made it to work, or I made it to church, and so we constantly talk to each other.
Okay. So, Patsy, it seems like there's quite a bit of communication ongoing.
Mhm.
Would you say perhaps that maybe your desire when Ray comes in is, is it in some ways unwanting? Meaning, is it when you hear now how he's describing it?
Mhm.
What is the thoughts? What are your thoughts?
Well, I go back to that self-centered and egotistic word because it's what I want, you know. So I mean, I know that. It's just letting it go, you know. It's just letting it go. But I know that, and we talk about that too.
So what is it within you that causes you to, have you, I mean, why?
Why? Why do I do that?
Yes.
I really don't know why. I'm sure there's some hidden agenda of why I do it. I don't know, maybe coming from a family of 12 kids and not always, you know, just being in that middle of always, I don't know, just who knows? I really don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, we're going to have some homework sessions.
Okay.
Because I think there's some underlying things that we could potentially discover. And Patsy, I'd like to really start with you,
Excuse me.
with taking some time to think about that why.
Why? Okay.
Because from what you've described, you guys do have a great communication process. You know how to work through challenges. But in this situation, it seems as though there's an underlying desire that you feel needs to be met, right? And you're looking to Raymond to meet that, as is your spouse, he should. But perhaps maybe there's some deeper things there that God potentially is trying to work on or solve or be God in that space, right? So we need to, if you'd like to, I would like to explore that some.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. And Raymond, you seem to be very in tune to your wife as far as, you know, knowing your wife. The Word of God tells us that husbands should dwell with their wife according to knowledge. So perhaps, and again, I don't know the answers, and I'll never give you an answer. But what we do in these sessions is we will work towards a plan together that you guys will put together, and I will just facilitate that plan.
Okay.
Right? And part of that plan, perhaps, Raymond, for you is to seek to understand why she needs that as well. And then perhaps ask God to help to show you how and what your role is in that as well. It may not be anything, it just may be God has to do it. But as her husband, her covering, that's something that you could certainly seek from God.
Okay.
So, I would like to sit down with you guys again, if you're willing to work with me. We'll discuss fees and things of that sort. I typically charge $125 a session for an hour. Initially, I'd like to meet usually once a week, but as we get deeper into it, sometimes that can, maybe go to once a month. In this scenario, I think perhaps maybe the next week we could meet one more time. See kind of where you guys are with what I've asked you, Patsy,
Okay.
and you as well, Raymond.
Okay.
And then I think Patsy, based upon where you are, you and I to kind of sit down, have a one-off session,
Okay.
and then come back and we can do some sharing with Ray if you don't mind.
Not at all.
From that and go from there.
Okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
So I appreciate you guys' time. It's been very informative. I think I understand, what you guys are trying to work through. I'd like to applaud you guys because 39 and a half years, you're still sitting here willing to talk and to communicate, and wanting to get better. So I applaud you for that. And
Okay.
I'm very grateful that you've chosen me to be a part of this process.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.